Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the devil. What do you see? For many of us, a familiar image comes to mind. It's a creature cloaked in a deep, fiery red, with skin like smoldering embers. Sharp, pointed horns curl up from its brow, and a long, whip-like tail flicks back and forth. In one hand it might hold a pitchfork, ready to prod and torment lost souls. This is the devil of cartoons, of folklore, and of countless paintings from centuries past. He is the ultimate villain, the master of a dark underworld, a figure of pure, unadulterated evil that we can easily point to and fear. He is simple, he is recognizable, and he is terrifying. But where does this picture truly come from? Is this horned, red-skinned demon the being the Bible warns us about? When we turn the ancient pages of Scripture, the image becomes far more complex, far less straightforward. The Bible speaks of a tempter, an accuser, a serpent, and a roaring lion. But it never quite gives us the detailed physical description that has become so ingrained in our culture. This raises a profound question, one that believers have wrestled with for millennia. Is the devil a literal external being, a fallen angel waging war against God? Or is he something else entirely, a powerful metaphor, a symbol for the darkness that resides within the human heart? For many Christians and readers of the Bible, the devil is no mere symbol, he is as real as the words on the page. They point to stories where he appears as a distinct character, interacting with people in tangible ways. Think of the story of Job. Here Satan appears before God in the heavenly courts. He is an accuser, a specific being who challenges Job's faithfulness. God allows Satan to test Job, to strip him of his wealth, his family, and his health. Throughout this harrowing ordeal, Satan is portrayed as a real, active agent in the world. Then, we have the most famous confrontation of all, Jesus in the wilderness. After his baptism, Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. For 40 days and 40 nights, this being presented Jesus with powerful temptations. He offered him bread to satisfy his hunger, power over all the kingdoms of the world, a spectacular rescue by angels to prove his divinity. Jesus speaks directly to him saying, "Away from me, Satan." This is not a man wrestling with his inner thoughts, it is a direct dialogue, a confrontation between two distinct beings. The New Testament continues to describe the devil as a real and present danger. The Apostle Peter warns believers to be alert and of sober mind because their enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. This is not the language of metaphor. A lion is a real predator, a physical threat that can tear you apart. Peter uses this powerful image to convey the seriousness of the spiritual battle. The threat is external, it is hungry, and it is actively hunting. The goal is not just to lead you astray, but to completely destroy you, body and soul. This literal view of the devil gives a clear framework for understanding evil in the world. When we see senseless violence, deep-seated hatred, or systemic injustice, it can be seen as the work of this adversary. He is the ruler of this world, as the Gospel of John calls him, sowing chaos and rebellion against God's good creation. Believers who hold this view find strength in knowing their enemy. They pray for protection. They engage in spiritual warfare. And they see their acts of kindness and faith as direct blows against the kingdom of darkness. Evil is not an abstract problem. It is a personal enemy to be fought and defeated. Now let us consider the other side. What if the Bible uses the language of the devil to describe something deeply human? Some readers look at the scriptures and see not a literal demon but a powerful personified symbol of evil and temptation. They argue ancient writers use symbolic language to explain complex ideas about human nature. The devil in this view is a name for the dark potential within each of us. He is the voice of our own ego. He is the voice of our own pride. He is the voice of our desire to put ourselves before God and others. The struggle is real. The enemy is within. Consider the first temptation in the Garden of Eden. The story features a serpent that speaks to Eve and convinces her to disobey God. Is this a literal talking snake or a masterful piece of symbolic storytelling? The serpent represents cunning. The serpent represents deception. The serpent is the subtle, whispering voice of doubt. It asks, "Did God really say?" This is internal rebellion, the part of us that questions goodness and authority for our desires. The fall, then, is not caused by an external monster, but by a choice to trust selfish wisdom over God's. We can see this symbolic language elsewhere. Paul writes in Ephesians about wrestling not against flesh and blood, against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world. It sounds like a literal battle at first, but as metaphor, these are not individual demons. They are corrupt systems, greed, oppression, injustice. The devil is the spirit behind these systems, collective evil from unchecked human selfishness. This view doesn't make evil less real, it can make it more terrifying. If the devil is a metaphor for our inner darkness, we have no one to blame but ourselves. The capacity for great evil lies dormant within each of us. Genocides of history, acts of cruelty we see on the news, these are not the work of a red monster with a pitchfork. They are the result of human choices, human hatred, human weakness. The battle is a constant, moment-by-moment struggle. Choose love over hate, choose humility over pride, choose compassion over selfishness. The enemy is us. So we have two very different ways of understanding the devil. One sees a literal, external being, a fallen angel named Satan who actively works to thwart God's plans. The other sees a powerful symbol, a personification of the evil and temptation that originates within the human heart. How do we reconcile these two views? Perhaps they're not as mutually exclusive as they first appear. It's possible that the Bible is describing a reality that's both external and internal, a truth so complex that it actually requires both literal and metaphorical language to fully grasp. The two views might just be two sides of the same dark coin. Let's compare them directly. The literal view offers a clear explanation for evil that exists outside of us. It helps make sense of natural disasters, inexplicable tragedies, those moments when evil seems to have a life of its own, far beyond the actions of any single person. It gives believers a specific enemy to name in their prayers and a sense of being part of a grand cosmic story. The weakness of this view, some might argue, is that it can allow us to shift blame. It's easier to say the devil made me do it than to take full responsibility for our own destructive choices. The metaphorical view, in contrast, forces radical self-examination. It makes us confront the darkness within. It insists that we are responsible for the evil we commit and for the systems of injustice we participate in. This view can be incredibly empowering, since it means we also hold the capacity for incredible good. We can choose to overcome our inner demons. The potential weakness here is that it might struggle to explain the sheer scale and seemingly organized nature of evil in the world. Can human selfishness alone account for the profound and systematic darkness we sometimes witness? Or does it point to something more? Perhaps the truth lies in the interaction between the two. Imagine an external force of evil, a real adversary, that can only gain power in the world by exploiting the darkness that's already inside us. The devil, in this combined view, is a real tempter, but his temptations are tailored to our specific weaknesses, our pride, our greed, our fears. He doesn't create the evil within us, but he finds it, nurtures it, and encourages it to grow. The battle is therefore fought on two fronts at the same time, against a spiritual enemy without and against the selfish nature within. This integrated view respects both the biblical language of a real adversary and the psychological reality of our internal struggles. In the end, the Bible gives us a complex and multi-layered portrait of evil's source. It speaks of a serpent, a lion, a tempter, a ruler of this world, and an accuser named Satan. It also speaks of the darkness within the human heart, of our sinful nature, and of the internal battle between flesh and spirit. Whether you see the devil as a literal being, a powerful metaphor, or some combination of the two, the core message remains remarkably consistent. There is a force in the universe that stands in opposition to God, to love, to goodness, and to light, and that force is real. The significance of your choice in this matter is, honestly, pretty profound. If you believe in a literal devil, your faith may involve a keen awareness of spiritual warfare. You might feel called to pray for protection, to resist external temptation, and to see your life as part of a great cosmic conflict between good and evil. Every act of faith is a victory. Every prayer is a weapon. This view provides a clear narrative for the struggles of life and a clear enemy to rally against. It gives a name and a face to the chaos and suffering in the world, which can be a source of great comfort and resolve. If, however, you lean towards the metaphorical view, your spiritual journey might be more introspective. The focus shifts from an external enemy to the internal landscape of your own heart and mind. The challenge becomes one of self-awareness, of recognizing your own capacity for both good and evil. Your acts of faith are about mastering your impulses, choosing compassion over selfishness, and working to heal the broken systems of the world that arise from collective human failure. This path demands a brutal honesty with oneself, and a deep commitment to personal transformation, seeing every inner victory as a triumph for God's kingdom. So what does the Bible really say about the devil? The question remains yours to answer.